big, beautiful, loving planet called Earth. So I was thinking of all the topics that I could talk about for today's vlog. And this topic that I'm going to talk about, I've talked about it before. But I'm going to talk a little bit in a different sense on what it means to me to talk about this subject. And it doesn't have anything to do with the way I talked about it in the past, but like, there's always this nagging thing in my brain of where I'm going to live next. And I know it's not going to happen anytime soon. But it got me to thinking, because I was thinking about this the other day as I was talking to some of my friends, that next year, I will have lived in this house for 25 years. That's a quarter of a century. I've lived in this house for 25 years. Think about that. I'm not saying many people live in the same house for more than, whether it could be a year, it could be 3 years, it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years, it could be 15 years or even 20 years. But I'm sure there's individuals who lived in the same house for 30 plus years or 40 years or 50 years. But that got me to thinking, what could be next for me? I'm not saying, like I said before, I'm not saying that my next place probably potentially could be my last place I ever live in my life. Now, where that's going to be, I have an inkling, and I've talked about this before. There are 3 places that I'm not asking you guys to make a selection on these 3 places. I have to do my research on these things and figure that stuff out on my own. Not have anyone. Well, I was thinking of making this a Patreon tier, but that's beside the point. There are 3 places that I would like to live, and none of them include Los Angeles, but it is down south in California. So these 3 places came to mind because one's close to Disneyland, one is close to a zoo and a baseball team and a football team. Now, I would not follow those baseball teams or football teams because I am a diehard, and I will continue to be a diehard SF Giants fan and SF 49ers fan and Golden State Warriors fan for the rest of my life, and San Jose Sharks fan for the rest of my life. But the thing is, these are 3 places that I would like to live at, or would potentially like to live at, I should say. Not saying that these are going to be places that I actually live, but these are 3 places that are at the top of my list of places to live. Santa Barbara is 1, Anaheim is number 2, and number 3 is San Diego. Now, I don't know when that's going to happen, or if that will ever happen, but it's always been in my mind, or in my brain, for a long, long time, that's the next place, that's the place I want to spend the rest of my life in one of those 3 cities here in California. Now, but I don't know why those 3 places keep popping up or being shown to me, but I've seen it everywhere that I go. Those 3 locations, Santa Barbara, Anaheim, and San Diego. I've been to Anaheim so many times that I might as well, I'm not saying I would live there, but it's a strong possibility that I could live there someday. Just like it's a strong possibility I could live in Santa Barbara or in San Diego. Those are the 3 cities that have been the strongest of every single city in the world that I would like to spend the rest of my life with, spend the rest of my life in the future, whenever that may be. And I know it's not going to be cheap to live in any of those cities because, San Diego is probably one of, if not the most expensive place to live, and Anaheim's probably up there too. Not too sure about Santa Barbara, but it might be expensive, it might not be. I don't know. I still have a lot of research I have to do before I make a final decision on one of those 3 cities. But like I said, I want to say Santa Barbara's at the very top, and then a very close second is probably going to be Anaheim, just because of Disney. and third is San Diego, because I feel like living near a beach or living near a body of water is probably the best thing to do. Now, I know Anaheim doesn't really have a body of water that close to it. It might have a body of water near it somewhere, but it's not that close to it. I'm sure there's a body of water within within 25 miles of it or less than that. But I'm just saying, I'd like to live somewhere near like a beach or an ocean or a lake or a river or something along those lines down in Southern California. Now, I don't know when that's going to happen or if that will ever happen, but those are my top 3 choices of places I would like to live in California. Because I've experienced Northern California twice in my life. It's time for me to move down south. Now, I realize that there's a lot of, rainy days, or not even that many rainy days, but it's just, I've been to Santa Barbara before, I've been to Anaheim, I've been to San Diego before. I've been to Anaheim more than I've been to Santa Barbara or San Diego, just to let you guys understand that. So, who knows when that's going to happen or what that whole situation is. Now, before I end this vlog, I did want to say something else. Going away from the next location I live at, there's a strong possibility over the next 8 months that I could get a PlayStation 5. Now, I don't know which games that I want to play. There's some possibilities like God of War Ragnarok. There's a potential for Hogwarts Legacy. There's potentials for other games, maybe a WWE game. I don't know. But over the next 8 months, I'm going to do my research on that as well to figure out which one I would prefer to get. Whether it be the digital version of, or digital version of the PlayStation 5, or get the disc version of the PlayStation 5. And figure out which games I should start on and finish and do all that stuff. But that's a lot of research I have to figure out. Hopefully it'll go down a little bit more than what it's at, because it's at, I believe, for one of them it's like $500, and for the other one it's like $400 or something like that. So I'm going to look into it a little bit more. I'm going to look into other video games besides the ones that I listed. It's just going to be a lot of research in regards to finding my next house or apartment or whatever it is, and doing research on PlayStation 5. I'm going to talk to my brother a little bit about it, and I'm going to see if I can talk to some more people who play video games and see which one I should get, because there's 2 options. There's the digital one where you can download it digitally, or you can get a CD disc console and have just a bunch of DVDs of video games and such like that as well. So that I have to do research on, and then the next location I live at, I have to do research on that, whether it is Santa Barbara, whether it is Anaheim, or whether it is San Diego. I'll let you guys know what my decision is when I get closer to 40, which is still 5 years away. So, or 5.5-ish years away. Anyways, we got one birthday to wish today, so let's just get into it. I want to wish Dua Lipa happy birthday today as well. Her happy birthday. We got a couple birthdays tomorrow. Let me see, I think it's 3. Or no, it's just 1. Oh, it's 2. 2 birthdays on tomorrow, the 23rd. So I'll talk more about those 2 birthdays tomorrow. And then we're getting down towards the end of the month, because we just have the 22nd through the 31st left, which is just 9 days from now is the end of the month. And everyone's love story exists out there somewhere in the world. For me, she's probably, whether it's 10 miles from me, whether it's 10,000 miles away from me, she's out there somewhere, waiting for me. I should say waiting, because that's not the right word. Hoping that I see her soon, Is that the right way I want to describe it? I guess. I'm not trying to be a creep or a stalker or anything like that. I'm just saying she's out there somewhere. Whether she comes to me or I go to her, either way, she's out there somewhere. Not waiting, but hopefully, I guess waiting is the right word. Anyways, I will see you tomorrow with a brand new vlog, and bye-bye.